Okay, so I'm going to instruct how to mark the positions, the points on the head in order to measure visual evoked potentials and for bears. So we're going to be marking A1, A2, OZ, O1, and O2 by using the 10-20 system. So first, I'm going to be marking CZ on the head. In order to get CZ, I'm going to be measuring from the Nasian of the head to the Inian. You can see I marked the Inian with this blue arrow, with this blue cross here. So we're going to measure the distance to get our accurate number. So I'm taking from the Nasian, and then with my measuring tape, I'm going straight back on the head all the way down to the Inian, and here I got 33. So I'm going to take 50% of that distance. So 50% of 33 would be 16 and a half. So from the Nasian, I'm going to go up straight the head, and then I'm going to go to 16 and a half here. And then I'm going to mark it with a pink highlighter so I can see. Making sure to keep it flat so I can have a good reading. Alright, and now, in order to get the accurate CZ measurement, we also have to measure from A1, which is the left preauricular, to A2, which is the right preauricular. This isn't a measurement, but this is just an kind of an estimation point for the preauriculars. So it's near the mastoid process. It's also they're also referred to as M1 sometimes. So here we're going to be putting A1 right here. You can see on the ear. It's kind of at the bottom portion of the earlobe. And then we're also going to be marking A2 in the same spot as well on the right side. So we're going to measure from A1 straight up across the head all the way to A2. And for this measurement, I got 37. So we're going to take 50% of that, and we're also going to mark it, and then the crossing point is going to be our CZ. So 50% of 37 is going to be 18 and a half. So from A1, I'm going to go up towards the center of the head, and I'm going to go to 18 and a half. Alright, and then I'm going to make these points cross as well. So then at the crossing point at the top of the head, you can see I have here with this pink cross. I'm at the center point of that, I'm going to mark CZ with my pin there. So next, to ensure that CZ is in the right position, we're also going to compare it to OZ. So now in order to get OZ, which is going to be on the back of our head, we're going to take the distance from the Nasian to the Inian. So we got 33. We're going to take 10% of that distance, which is 3.3, and we're going to measure 10% up from the Inian, and that is going to be our OZ point. So from the Inian here, I'm going to measure up about 3.3, and I'm going to mark that with my highlighter as well. So here you can see I have my OZ point. Now, to ensure that OZ is in the right position, it should be 40% down from CZ. Typically, in between CZ and OZ, we have another point when measuring the 10-20 system. So in reality, it would be 20, 20, 20. But for this case, it should be 40%. So 40% of that 33 is going to be 13.2. So I'm just going to measure from OZ to CZ, making sure I have about 13.2. And we are about even on that as well. So next, we are going to be measuring for O1 and O2. So in order to get those measurements, we have to measure the circumference of the head. So in order to start the measurements for the circumference of the head, we're going to have to determine FPZ. So it's FPZ, it's a similar measurement to OZ, except instead of going up from the inion, we are going to go 10% up from the nasian. So that 10% again is 3.3. So we're going to go up 3.3 from the nasian to mark off our FPZ point. And again, I'm going to mark this with a pink highlighter. I'm just going to extend this line so I can see when measuring. So here you can see marked by this pink line here, we have FPZ. Next, the next measurements for, in order to obtain our circumference, we are going to be measuring T3 and T4. So in order to obtain T3 and T4, we're going to have to take the distance from A1 to A2, and we are going to be marking up 10% from A1 towards CZ. So we're going to take 10% upwards is going to be our T3, and then on the right side, 10% up from A2 is going to be our T4. So we had this measurement as 37. Now we're going to measure from A1, going to measure up 3.7. I'm going to mark that with my highlighter. Just going to extend that line. So you can see with this pink mark here, up 3.7 from A1, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side to obtain T4. So we're going to go up 3.7 from A2. And here you can see by this marked line, that is our T4. So next, in order to obtain our circumference, we're going to measure all the way from FPZ. We're going to making sure our tape measure is crossing all the points FPZ, T3, OZ, and T4. And when making this measurement, it's important to make sure that your tape measure is able to cross through all these points and lay flat. Double checking, making sure that we're going through all the points. And for that distance, we got 55. So now that we have our circumference, we are going to be measuring O1 and O2, which are on the back of the head here. So the total distance between O1 and O2 is going to be 10% of the circumference. So when double checking, O1 and O2 should be 5.5 apart. But in order to measure exactly where they are, we're going to be using they should each be 5% from OZ. So 5% of the 55 is going to be 2.75. So measuring to the right from OZ, we're going to go 2.75. And I'm going to mark that with my highlighter. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to mark about 2.75. And to ensure, so I have marked my O1 and my O2 with the pink there. And to ensure that they are at the right distance, I'm going to measure from one point to the other, and it should be 5.5. Okay? And we're going to pin these as well. We're going to pin O2 and O1, and then we're also going to pin OZ as well. And yeah, so these are all our points for measuring for VEPs and bears. We have our A1 at our left preauricular point, our A2 at our right preauricular point. We have CZ at the top of the head here, and then we also have O1, OZ, and O2.